At home, we've been following the election since long before the polls opened. Our Heath Kolb is breaking down local results. But first, let's bring in Jordan Burroughs. He's downtown catching up with voters now that the results are in. Jordan, what are people saying out there today?
Lauren, we've been talking to voters all morning long, and actually tens of the voters we spoke to didn't want to go on camera. Some said they were too upset, that is. Some said they just didn't want to be on camera. And actually, a couple of women told us that they're still trying to grieve the results of this election process. You're going to hear from four men, two Kamala supporters and two Donald Trump supporters here, that are sounding off on Donald Trump becoming the 47th president of the United States.
This was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time.
As the news of Donald Trump becoming the next president of the United States settles in, Detroiters are telling us how they feel.
It doesn't matter. I'm going to keep living anyway. It doesn't matter. I'm not rich anyway, so it don't change a thing with me.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but at the end of the day, we need to make this country better, and I think we're going to be in good hands for the next 4 years.
It sucks, but it is what it is. Can't do anything about it really at this point. So that's my thoughts.
Trump secured more than 270 electoral votes after winning key battleground states like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. He's currently leading in Michigan, but the race hasn't officially been called. Democrats and Republicans we spoke to said they've accepted the results of the 2024 presidential election.
I'm okay about it because I really had doubts that she's going to win anyway.
Why did you have those doubts?
She's a female, and hey, the white male rules the United States.
I feel very good. I don't wish any ill towards Democrats at all. We're misconstrued. He overcame people, and he loved us, even though many of us didn't support him. I understand he's gruff. He's got a gruff tone and this and that. Everybody knows that. But who doesn't from New York?
When Trump gets inaugurated come January of next year, he will become just the second president to leave the White House and then come back 4 years later to serve a second term. Reporting live in downtown Detroit, Jordan Burroughs, CBS News, Detroit.
All right, thank you, Jordan. Well, the presidential race, not the only issue on the ballot. Let's bring in our Heath Kolb now with a breakdown of other local races. Heath.
Yeah, Lauren, we're looking at the race for the U.S. Senate between Alyssa Slotkin and Mike Rogers. And this race ranks among the most competitive and expensive in the country. And it's been a nail-biter all night into Tuesday and now into today. Let's take a look at the most recent numbers. As you can see on your screen in just a moment, the numbers on your screen, we have about 97% of the vote in between Slotkin and Rogers. And it is still too close to call because of just how close this election is. Slotkin leading by just a few thousand votes, just 7,000 votes right now, with both of them having over 2.6 million votes. Really astounding how close it is. Now, Tuesday night, we made the rounds at watch parties for both candidates. Rogers and his supporters were at the Suburban Collection Show Place in Novi. Rogers is hoping to return to Washington, having already served as a U.S. congressman from Michigan. But last night told supporters this race is about a lot more than just his future.
That's why this race was important to us, why it was important to my wife, Christy, why it was important to so many of you who got in the rain and the cold some days, and those Saturday mornings when everyone else was doing something fun, you were going to a door and knocking on a door or putting up a sign. That's what this campaign was always about. Christy said it best. It wasn't about me. It wasn't about us. It was really about all of us.
We also spent time at the Democrats' watch party, which was held at the Soundboard Theater at Motor City Casino. Now, several party leaders spoke, including Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan. Slotkin had not addressed the crowd. We did talk to State Senator Mallory McMorrow, who says voters she connected with yesterday are optimistic.
Something that we always feel every cycle, where waiting is the hardest part. But I got to tell you, I was out in Macomb today. I was out in Detroit at a number of the campaign offices. People kept showing up to volunteer, even people who had just voted. They're excited. They're excited about Kamala Harris and Democrats, and we're going to get this thing done.
Now consider these numbers. We mentioned this was one of the more expensive races throughout the country. The records show at least $141 million was spent just by outside groups supporting these candidates. Pretty remarkable how close this race has continued to be. Back to you, Lauren.